There are two kinds of people who know what a power lineman does. The first kind found out because the lights came back on after a hurricane, and they never thought twice about who climbed into the dark to make that happen. The second kind found out because someone they loved didn't come home from a shift. There is no third kind. Right now, there are 115,000 working linemen in the United States. The Bureau of Labor Statistics lists this job in the top 5 most dangerous professions in the country. 46 linemen died on the job last year. Not in wars. In neighborhoods. Fixing the power so someone else's coffee could brew in the morning. And yet, a journeyman with storm hours clears $130,000 a year without a single college credit. A contractor who lands the right utility contract after a Category 4 makes more in 60 days than most engineers make in 2 years. This is not a story about electricity. This is a story about what it costs to climb from the bottom of that pole to the top of that contract. This is every level of a power lineman's career. Level 1, the Groundman Year 0 to Year 4, IBEW Apprenticeship. You don't climb anything on your first day. You dig. You carry. You hand tools up to men who don't say thank you. You are the bottom of a 4-man crew and everyone on that crew is watching you in a way that doesn't feel like watching. You've entered an IBEW local apprenticeship, acceptance rate below 15%, beating out veterans and college graduates for a job that starts at $22 an hour. That sounds like a win until you price out your gear. Rubber gloves rated to 26,000 volts, $180. Climbing gaffs, the steel hooks that are the only thing between you and the ground at 40 feet, $300. Flame-resistant clothing, because arc flash will light you on fire before you hear the sound, $400. You spend $1,200 before your first storm check. By year 2 you're climbing. Not on energized lines, not yet. But your body is already changing. Your hands are harder. You wake at 4:45 a.m. without an alarm. Your nervous system has recalibrated to the schedule of infrastructure. By year 4, you've logged 8,000 on-the-job hours, passed 4 IBEW exams, and watched at least one man get hurt. You've made a decision, quietly, privately, that most people in your life don't fully understand. You're staying. Level 2, the Journeyman Year 4 to Year 10, the years that define you. Your IBEW Journeyman card comes in the mail on a Tuesday. It's a small laminated thing. But it means you can walk onto any union job site in the country and work. It means your rate just jumped to $40 an hour. It means the apprentice on your crew now hands tools up to you. It means the liability just shifted. A journeyman working standard hours clears $85,000 a year. Add overtime, which is not occasional but structural, utilities are chronically understaffed, and you're at $100,000. Add a storm deployment and the number becomes something your college friends won't believe at Thanksgiving. Here is how storm pay works. When a hurricane activates mutual aid agreements, you get a daily per diem of $75 to $100, tax-free, on top of time and a half after 40 hours and double time after that. During Hurricane Ian's restoration in 2022, journeymen working 16-hour days for 6 straight weeks came home with $40,000 to $55,000 for that single deployment. You deposit it. You don't talk about it at dinner, because your wife already knows what those 6 weeks cost, and the number doesn't balance the ledger the way you want it to. Because you are now doing energized line work. Hot work. You are physically touching conductors carrying 7,200 volts with nothing between you and cardiac arrest but rubber gloves and muscle memory. You do this in August heat. In January sleet. At 2 a.m. after a tornado because the hospital 3 miles away is running on backup generator. Your body at year 8 is not your body at year 4. Your knees have opinions. Your lower back files formal complaints. The hypervigilance, a constant low-frequency scan for things that can kill you, doesn't turn off when you get home. Your partner notices before you do. Level 3, the Foreman Year 8 to Year 15, the weight of other people's lives. The morning you become a foreman, your superintendent hands you a clipboard. On it is a job hazard analysis form. Every morning, before your crew touches anything, you fill it out. You identify the hazards. You list the controls. You sign your name at the bottom. Then your four-man crew signs below yours. What nobody tells you is what that signature actually means. Under OSHA 1910.269, the foreman is the competent person on site. If something goes wrong, investigators don't start with the apprentice who made the mistake. They start with the name at the top. They start with you. Your pay reflects the weight, $55 to $70 an hour, pushing $145,000 with overtime. But watch where the money goes. Your tax bracket climbed. Your union dues climbed. You're now carrying a separate personal liability policy because a lawyer explained the exposure to you once at a barbecue and the conversation ended your appetite. The net number is still strong. The number you feel in your chest at 3 a.m., replaying Tuesday's near miss, is harder to quantify. You've also stopped explaining what you do at parties. Not because you're ashamed. Because the explanation always ends with someone saying, "Wow, that sounds dangerous," and moving on, and you're still standing there with Tuesday on a loop. Your crew trusts you completely. That trust is the heaviest thing you have ever carried. Level 4, the superintendent year 12 to year 20, the man who watches from the ground. You realize something has changed the morning you pull up to a job site and don't put on your climbing belt. It's still in your truck. It's always in your truck. But 3 crews are staged and waiting, your radio is already going, and the utilities project manager is already calling. There is no version of this morning where you climb anything. 6 months later, the belt is in the same spot. You've stopped telling yourself it's temporary. You now manage 5 to 8 crews across multiple sites. Your office is a pickup truck. Your mornings start at 5 a.m. Your evenings end with a scope review. The money clears $100,000 base, toward $130,000 with performance bonuses. But here is the number nobody puts in the job posting, the payroll float. 8 crews, 4 men each, 32 people getting paid every 2 weeks. When your billing cycle doesn't align with the utilities payment cycle, someone covers that gap. That someone is you. And somewhere between covering the gap and watching your margin on a project, the arithmetic arrives. You look at what the prime contractor is clearing versus what you're clearing, and you feel something between motivated and ill. The idea of your own company doesn't announce itself. It just quietly refuses to leave. Level 5, the contractor year 15 and beyond, your name on the truck. The first thing you buy is the truck. A used digger derrick, 2019 All-Tech, 40,000 miles. You pay $185,000. You finance $140,000 of that at a rate that makes your stomach move in an uncomfortable direction. You park it in your driveway and your neighbor asks if you're starting a business and you say yes, and the word feels strange in your mouth because for 15 years the answer to that question was always someone else's name. You've incorporated. Secured your contractor's license. Posted a $50,000 surety bond. Obtained general liability and workers' compensation coverage. Your first utility contract is a master service agreement with a regional cooperative, routine distribution maintenance, margins around 12 to 15%. But the relationship is the point. You are building the reference that gets you the call when the storm comes. And then the storm comes. A derecho tears through 3 states in August. A transmission contractor calls at 6 a.m., someone you barely broke even with 18 months ago. They need 4 crews in 48 hours. You have 2. You call every journeyman you've worked with in 15 years. You sleep 4 hours in 3 days. You invoice $1.4 million over 51 days. Your net, after payroll, fuel, equipment, and per diem, is $310,000. You stare at the wire transfer confirmation for a long time. You think about the $140,000 note on the truck. You think about the foreman who trained you in year 2, who retired at 62 with a bad hip and a pension that covers his mortgage if he's careful. You think, I am not going back. The view from the top. It's a Tuesday morning in October and you are sitting in a truck that costs more than your first house. You have 4 trucks now. 11 employees. 2 active MSAs. Your accountant used the word equity last quarter in a tone that meant something different than it used to. You are 44 years old. You have not climbed a pole in 3 years. The exit from the work is never dramatic. There is no morning where you decide you're done. The climbs just slowly stop appearing on your schedule, replaced by calls and site visits where you stand on the ground and watch other men do the thing you spent 15 years becoming exceptional at. The gaffs are in a box in your garage. Your son asked what they were once. You didn't explain for very long. Every dollar in your account traces back to a pole you climbed, a line you worked, a storm you drove toward at 2 a.m. when everyone else was driving away. Now you send other men to do those things. On a job site 2 states away, there is a groundman on his 3rd week. Carrying equipment up a hill in the rain. Handing tools to a journeyman who doesn't say thank you. His hands are getting harder. His lower back hasn't started yet. He thinks this is the bottom. He's right.